I'm Jamie Casa.
Today we'll be talking about vaccinations. Families fly from across the country to enjoy the wonders and childhood dreams of Disneyland. Little did they know a severe disease could be following them home on vacation. In the year 2015, a deadly outbreak of measles was found to be traced back to Disneyland, where 84 people from 14 different states were confirmed with the disease. According to an article in Forbes titled "Anti-Vaccine Movement Causes Worst Measles Outbreak in 20 Years." In the year 2000, advancements in medical technology in the U.S. nearly eradicated measles, with only 100 confirmed cases that year. This number has increased, flash forward to 2014, where 644 confirmed cases were announced. This has been tied to the anti-vaccination movement, where people are foregoing vaccinations on their children for a variety of different reasons. Now, many of us in this audience may be future parents within the next decade, having to make this important decision about vaccinating our children and protecting them from various diseases.
The three of us are vaccinated young adults living a healthy life with no side effects. This topic is important to us as we are potential parents of the future. Today's parents need to vaccinate their children in order to ensure the safety of their children and those of the general public. In this speech, we are going to discuss why people are not vaccinated, how this affects the health of those children, and the solutions to solving this problem. My group member Eric will now detail the causes behind the increasing amount of unvaccinated people in the U.S. today and why this anti-vaccination movement is spreading.
Many parents are deciding not to vaccinate their children. A great deal of misinformation is being spread online about vaccinations. One of the most pervasive myths about vaccines is that they cause autism. However, the Autism Science Foundation, the foremost authority on autism research, has stated that there is no link between autism and vaccines or any of their ingredients. Myths like these are spread very easily on the internet, where an opinion or unsupported claim can be shared across a variety of sources within minutes. Many parents also lack the proper education on the subject. For many parents, the sheer amount of information available can be overwhelming, and it can be hard to differentiate between what's real and what isn't. This can be incredibly confusing for new parents, as they're trying to figure out what they should do with their kids and if they should get vaccinated or not. This may be one of the leading factors in why the anti-vaccination movement is growing. Another reason for this trend may be the lax vaccination requirements in schools. All states require students to be vaccinated before they can enter public schools. However, many states also allow parents to enter their students into public schools without vaccinations, based on 3 types of exemptions. Medical exemptions are valid in all 50 states and are issued by medical professionals to students whose immune systems can't handle vaccines. Religious exemptions are based on the claim that vaccines go against a person's religion, and so forcing them to get vaccinated would violate their First Amendment rights. These are currently valid in all states except for California, West Virginia, and Mississippi. Personal belief exemptions are the last kind and are valid in 18 states, including Minnesota and North Dakota. These state that a person can choose not to get vaccinated if it goes against their personal beliefs. These exemptions make it possible for parents to avoid getting their children vaccinated, and may be a leading reason why the anti-vaccination movement is growing. Now, my team member Jamie will explain the effects of this growing trend of non-vaccination.
So parents are not vaccinating their children, which puts their children and others in their surroundings in danger of contraction. More kids are becoming ill because of the lack of vaccines administered to them. They are an effective and safe way to avoid infection, but a child's chances of getting infected are dramatically increased when they're not immunized. This affects their health as well as their education. Schools often require children to stay home from school when they are sick, and this impedes their learning and can cause them to fall behind in school. Not only does this affect children individually, but it can also impact many in their surroundings as well. Children can transmit diseases to people at home, at schools, or in the community. Anyone who is not protected against a certain virus has the chance of contracting it. And this makes it difficult for people with medical exemptions because their bodies cannot withstand the medication that is being injected. This includes children and adults with leukemia and cancers, people with immune system problems, and people of all ages receiving treatments or medications that suppress their immune systems. Many diseases have also started to reappear throughout the United States because of the lack of vaccines administered to children. According to a study conducted by the University of Minnesota, there were more than 48,000 cases of measles in 2012, which is the highest that it has been in 60 years. Although this is just one example, there have been other previous outbreaks, and more are likely to continue if children do not receive the vaccinations they need. There are many factors that cause diseases to spread, and parents that intentionally do not vaccinate their children are a major contributor to these disease outbreaks. But virus prevention is crucial for the health of kids, and today I talked about how it can affect the health of the kids and their people in their surroundings as well. Nicholas will now share with you the possible solutions to solve this problem.
Thank you, Jamie. The three of us have proposed a twofold solution to combat this problem. One of them is to give a proper education and general knowledge to the public about this controversial topic and clear up any misconceptions that it has. The other is to enforce stricter guidelines on children upon entering public or private school systems. Point 1. To inform parents upon early medical treatment of the child about how crucial this topic is. It is difficult to combat this anti-vaccination movement, however, with all the information that is swirling around on the internet or by mouth-to-mouth delivery. It's difficult to talk about this topic because there's a lot of harsh words that go along with it, such as death, autism, diabetes, and other long-term illnesses. So it's a pretty dark topic, but it needs to be brought up to the light, and the general public needs to be informed about it. We propose that a well-researched study is implemented by a well-renowned medical group where it can gather all the essential information presented in a short, concise delivery where the general public can accept the information that it needs to and realize that vaccines are quite important. This would also help as it would quickly spread across the internet, and hopefully it would be a good source of information, unlike ones like Facebook, Twitter, and other social media sites. Our second point is to more strictly enforce vaccinations upon entering the public school system. In an article titled "Mississippi Has the Nation's Best Vaccination Rate," written in the Washington Post in 2015, 99.7% of kindergartners entering public school in Mississippi were vaccinated. This left only 140 students in the entire state entering the school without their full list of shots. On the other hand, states like Colorado and Pennsylvania have a nearly 15% non-vaccination rate due to all the exemptions that parents can use to get around these guidelines. Now, how has Mississippi done this so well? As Eric said, they do not allow personal belief exemptions when trying to get around vaccinations of their children. If this was implemented across the country in all 50 states, where only medical exemptions could be used, the vaccination rate would quickly rise, reaching the 99.7 that Mississippi has been able to display for the last few years. With these proposed solutions, the U.S. could lead towards a healthier and safer culture and the security and safety of our kids and adults alike.
In today's society, with a constantly growing population, parents need to vaccinate their children to ensure safety from diseases like measles, mumps, rubella, and many others. Imagine taking your children to Disneyland for a fun vacation, only to find out that they came back with a deadly disease that could have been prevented by a vaccine. This is why vaccinations are important. In this speech, we covered how misinformation and lack of education for parents creates some parents to avoid getting their child vaccinated. If you're a future parent, please consider vaccinating your children for their safety and for the safety of those around them. Thank you.
Thank you. Give a round of applause.